what information should I have ready before analyzing a creative finance real estate investment? So I'd say go look at the calculator, see what's missing, but that's like too hard, right? Like it's easier for me to say as the person who owns this calculator and created this calculator and has done tons of deals, bought and owns over 60 rentals, did this process 40 plus times, analyzed thousands of deals. I mean, I almost analyzed 1,000 deals before I bought my first one. So I'm probably close to 10,000 now, 4-ish years later, almost 5 years after my first deal being purchased. So how, like for me, a lot of it's up here. But then to make it easier for others, yes, there's the calculator. But if you are in the free Wealth to Real Estate community, you get access to this tool as well. You join the community, you go to the classroom, you go to Creative Finance. Oh no, you go to Super Investor Preview. You scroll down, you could just close this one, close that one. You go down, you could close the masterclass series, and it's the wholesaler deal info checklist, this one right here. So if you're analyzing these deals, whether you're going through a wholesaler or not, like if you want to analyze a deal from a wholesaler, you need this information. It's the same information, whether it's through a wholesaler, whatever, it's still the same information that you need actually. So for me, because I buy the majority of my deals from wholesalers, that's what this is called, but that's not necessarily the case. You can grab a free copy anytime. So it's this one right here. I want to put that in here. The problem is I gave you guys the editable version. I'm glad no one messed with it. And you can't, I mean, you don't have access to do that. You wouldn't even have access to it. But this one, you can actually just make an instant copy. And that's what this document is. So if you want to know what information should I have ready before analyzing a creative real estate investment or bringing them to the office hours for me to analyze the deal with you, I need to know the property information. So this stems from the calculator. You're not going to be surprised, right? I need to be able to analyze the deal. So I need the information that at minimum to be able to analyze the deal. So ideally we have the property information, address, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, some basics of the property, that's basic characteristics, and the address so that I can also look up other data sources as needed. Like if I'm pulling up mortgage info and all that from PropStream, I need to know that stuff. Purchase price. So if it's a deal already under contract, I need to know what are you purchasing it for? And ideally, what is the contract? Do you have the contract? Because a lot of people don't even know how to read a purchase and sale agreement. They don't know how to say like, oh, this is the purchase price. This is the amount that's subject to, this is the amount that seller finances, how much is getting paid out to the sellers, how much is going to the wholesaler. They don't know how to read that. If I have the contract, I can help you decipher that. Or if not, I at least need to understand the terms of the purchase agreement. So at least the purchase price, a benefit is the purchase agreement or contract. Entry cost. At minimum, I need to know what is the amount that's needed to pay off the seller, pay any arrears or liens, agent commissions, wholesaler assignment fee. I need to know those things. This is the database of deals that anyone in the super investor community can go and analyze these deals and buy and hold these deals anytime, like instantly. It's like Zillow for creative finances. You can go and buy this $318,000 property in Texas for $30,000 and take over someone's 5% interest rate loan. You can buy this $265,000 property in Spring, Texas for $45,000, take over that 3% loan. Let's even see some even cooler ones. Interest rates under 3%. And you go buy this Cape Coral, Florida one, $397,000 purchase price for $42,000, interest rate of 2.25%. Like, you can do whatever. It's Zillow for creative finance deals, and it's freaking amazing. But I share this not for that. I share this to say what you'll see a lot of time from wholesalers is the entry cost that they say. The purchase price is $397, right? The entry fee is $42,500, which accounts for, usually it's going to account for the information here. The down payment to the seller, if there is some. Arrears or liens, if anything needs to get paid off as part of the closing. If there is some, it'll be accounted in there. Any commissions to pay an agent if it's an on-market property, and the wholesaler's assignment fee. A lot of the times you're going to get this number, $42,500, or, in this instance, $44,900, $32,500, $53,900. Like, you don't always get this breakdown of this, how much goes to the sellers, arrears, agent commissions, wholesale assignment fee. You just get the collective. That's fine enough to analyze with. Is it better to get the full breakdown of where they're categorized? Of course. It's better because then you know what's negotiable, right? Typically, we don't want to negotiate the wholesaler's assignment fee. We want to see if there's wiggle room with the agent or seller, especially if the wholesaler's going to have to go negotiate on your behalf. However, if you need to see if this deal, so you see here, it's 8.7% cash on cash return because you're paying $53,000 to get into the deal. Well, if you drop that 24,000 to 15,000, well, now you hit your cash on cash return goal of 10.5%. It's now a deal it hits within your investment criteria. Right? You need to know what of this is your ability to negotiate with the seller, the agent. If the seller's getting 6,000, or the agent's getting 6,000, there's not a lot of wiggle room there. We're going to take them down to 5,000. If it's the seller, there's the most wiggle room typically with the seller if they're open to getting the deal done. Maybe it's a give and take between the agent, the seller, the wholesaler, whatever, but it's important to understand that when you're negotiating. But for the sake of analyzing the deal, it doesn't matter if you took the 9,000 off here, you took the 9,000 off the assignment fee. It doesn't really matter as long as now you know what the entry cost that would make sense for you is there. So entry costs, ideally you have at least this full dollar amount. You have that amount here, and then you can estimate the closing costs and transaction coordinator costs. That's all in the entry part of this calculator. This is on both the free and the paid. You need this to analyze deals. So all that's in here. Then if there's like an HOA, well, what are the terms of the HOA? Do they restrict any type of management strategy? Because you might say, I'm going to go do co-living or short-term rentals. Well, if they don't allow that, or they only allow 6 month plus days or something, well, it's going to limit you. What's the payment associated to it? Are there any liens on the property that you have to either pay off, right, as part of your entry cost, or any payments on those liens that you have to do? Sometimes there's a lien that needs to get paid out when you sell the property in the future, like a down payment assistance type thing. If it's subject to, well, how much loan are you taking over? That's good. That's important for the analysis. What's the loan amount that you're taking over right here? If you're going to determine your mortgage payment, well, either you need the dollar amount like is presented here typically. This is the amount that you are paying monthly. In my opinion, that's cool. I really want to know the actual loan. I want to be able to recreate the original loan. That comes from having either the mortgage statement, so then you can verify some of these numbers, or understanding what is the interest rate, what is a loan term, and you can recreate that loan here. To be able to analyze, you don't need to be able to recreate the loan to understand if it's a good deal or not, but to be able to understand the ownership benefits over the long term, how much you're specifically paying in debt, and all of this stuff in like the best, most accurate data. You need to recreate the original loan. But at minimum, you need to know how much are you paying each month towards the mortgage, principal and interest on the loan, and then taxes and insurance, right? Principal and interest right here for the sub 2 loan, taxes and insurance broken down here, or you just take that value and replace it in total right there. And you need to know how much loan are you taking over. Perfect case scenario, you have the actual loan information, when it started, interest rate, how long the loan is for, when they made their first payment, all that stuff. You can get the majority of that from PropStream and one mortgage statement to verify the interest rate. You should have everything you need there. And then if there's a balloon on the sub 2 loan, well, you need to know when is that balloon going to occur. So you know if in 10 years you have to pay off whatever's the remainder of this sub 2 loan, you owe $130,000 on that sub 2 loan, right? In 10 years, you still have to pay off that $130,000 because that loan is due. Whether you're going to refinance the property, sell the property, pay for it cash, like whatever, you need to pay off that loan in 10 years. You need to be able to know if it's 10 years, like what amount are you going to pay off? All you need to know in that scenario is either recreate the loan and add the balloon is all you need to do to get that automatically done for you. But you need to know if there is a balloon. Seller finance, what is the loan amount? For it to determine the monthly payments, what's the interest rate and the loan terms? And if there's a balloon, what is it? Very straightforward because it's recreating a loan. And that's very simply your seller finance equity is your purchase price minus the money you're giving to the seller up front, the down payment, minus whatever sub 2 loan you're taking over is the seller finance equity. If you have no sub 2 loan, straight seller finance, well, this number drops to 0. And now this is all seller finance, or the opposite, right? It's all sub 2 loan and there's no seller finance, there's nothing remaining. So like a straight sub 2 deal, you could do equals 24,000 plus 3419 to give you an example. So your 240,000 minus your down payment, right? The money you're giving up front minus your sub 2 loan that you're taking over, there's nothing left over. Right? So there's no seller finance in that component. The reason why seller financing is great in these scenarios is, well, you don't have to give them $50,000. You can give them 24 up front or 10 up front. Give the rest over payments over time. What you need to know is how much loan is that? What is the loan amount? What is the interest rate on that loan amount? And then for how long? And that dictates what your monthly payment is. So if this is 10%, right? $266,095 versus if it's, or $266 versus 2%, right? That changes this. And to make the numbers more digestible, just set this to 0. And like, this is why properties at 8% right now, like 7 or 8%, don't work as well because you're paying $1,500 in payments where you could be paying, 2, 3, I have plenty of 0% as well. Let's say 3%, $1,500 and $900, right? That's $600 more that you are generating in cash flow, making your deal even better, improving your cash flow and your cash on cash return. But also the lower the interest rate, the more you're paying on the debt, less you're wasting on interest. It's massively beneficial. And if there's a balloon on that, you say, okay, 10 years from now, I owe the seller $163,000 on the original $216,000 loan they gave me, right? You need these tools. You probably need to rewatch this maybe 2 or 3 times. Some of you, it's okay. I've spent thousands of hours at this point learning and analyzing. It took me 18 months to buy my first freaking deal. Part of that was confidence, limiting beliefs, not being in the right rooms yet. But it took 18 months, over 1,000 hours of just analysis, which is like 2,000 deals I analyzed before I even bought my first one. It's okay to learn, but at some point you got to take action as well. I give you all the tools and resources you need.